Hey everyone, Nick from Nick's Crossing here, and welcome back to the train room, guys. And more importantly, welcome back to the train bench for another video. This video, guys, I'm going to try my hand on weathering a diesel. This is actually the second diesel I've ever attempted to weather, and the first one came out pretty cool. I had a huge response, guys, from all you guys out there from the live stream, so I thought it'd be really cool to try to weather this beautiful SW1 from MTH's Protosound 2 3-volt line. And I just wanted to do something similar to what I did with the RS11, but show you guys some of my techniques and the paints that I use and the tools and all of that. So anyways, guys, let's get into this. Here we go. All aboard. Alrighty, guys, so I have a couple rules on weathering. So first off, what's the scope of the work that the engine will be doing? So is it hauling, freight cars, engines back and forth? Is it a yard dog like we have here? What is its specific task? So a lot of my steam engines are pretty grimy and dirty. I have one that looks like it's been through war and back, and then I've got some that just have a light weathering over top. And then we have diesels. So the Alco I weathered last week, I made her look really dirty because it's an Alco. And I looked up pictures of RS11s, RS3s, RS1s, and they were just covered in soot. And also, weathering is railroad specific. So some railroads may take better care of their engines than others, or washing and all that. It also depends on the era. So if you're weathering steam engines and they're super dirty, you could say like, oh, it's a later steam era when they stopped, washing all the engines all the time. And then if you have a diesel, depending on what type of diesel it is, where it fits in. So the SW1 is an early diesel switcher, so we can make her pretty dirty. We're not going to go over the top. I also have a couple other rules of weathering. So I don't weather classic toy trains or NPC stuff. I'm only weathering modern models, I guess. These are all toys to me, but we're modeling a dirty, grungy railroad up here. But these are all toys in my eyes anyways, so we're still weathering a toy, it's just not a classic toy train. But anyways, guys, let's get you to the bench. I'll show you guys the paints I use and the tools we'll be using for this art project here. Alrighty, guys, so here is our locomotive, and the paints we'll be using today are actually from Microlux, and we'll be using a grimy black numbered 29052, if you want to look them up. This is what I use on all my steam engines to get that nice scale coat of just grime and just nasty soot looking stuff. And it's great for brush application or spray. You can thin it out. It says flat finish. This is for the brush application, but I still end up spraying it out of the air sprayer. There's one. Next is the Microlux custom blended rust number 29055. And that's the color you get, nice orange rust color. Then next we have the Age Concrete Microlux, and this is number 29007. This is an airbrush ready paint. Then over here we have another airbrush ready. This is Rail Brown, number 29001. And all three of these lighter colors are great blended together. You get some really gnarly, nasty looking rust colors and stuff. And then our grimy black, this is what I usually do as an overcoat to make it look super dirty. Now also, guys, I'll be using some weathering powders. So here's a rusty brown that I picked up. And then over here we have grimy black. If you want to get some texture on things, these are really cool. Now to thin out my paints, instead of using like an alcohol or a denatured alcohol, I use these really cheap Villaggio wash effects. You can see it's like a really thin wash. So I'll add a little bit of this to thin out my other paint rather than using an alcohol or a chemical thinner, which I don't want that to harm the plastics. I want this paint to stick really nicely. Alrighty, guys, so I'm ready to paint our wheels on the truck. So first off, I have our locomotive running. It's hooked up to a Z1000 transformer, just giving her some power to rotate the wheels. And then over here I blended up a really nice nasty batch of wheel rust. Now what I did was just play around with your colors here. This rusty orange, the concrete, a little bit of concrete thrown in there, and then Thai brown, and then just a little dot, just a dot of this grime. And we got this nice rusty brown color for our wheels. So we're gonna take our stiff brush over here, make sure it's nice and free, and just take and dab our brush. And here's the best part: when the wheel rotates around, it paints itself. And just like that, we have a painted wheel. So for our rust, we'll be using just the Microlux rust in this bottle here. And what I plan on doing is just adding a little bit of rust detail. So this piston here is supposed to move back and forth for your braking. You usually see a little bit of rust on that. A little bit of rust there. And then also on our springs on the inside of the truck, add a little bit of rust. And then on the journals, so the top of the journals, you would always see this clip with a little bit of rust on it, from what I've seen. And then over here. Now it looks like a little much, right? So we're going to use the brush we've been using, this flat brush, and just sort of work it in. And when you do that, it looks like it's sort of falling down, like it's rinsing down, like water or moisture's gotten on it. And you also want to see the details underneath, so you don't want to like go too crazy. But as you can see right now, it looks like rust overspray. Like this truck is moving up and down, and the rust is falling off if it's wet. And then we can do the rest of this truck in that light brown. There we go. And when we do our overspray, I'll hide any of the excess paint that that's on here right now. Alrighty guys, so we're done our second wheel set, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to add some more rust to these wheels just to get that nice red color. So what I did was took our rusty brown weathering powders here on this fine detail brush, just a little bit, little dot does a lot with powder. Put on the center of the wheel and just do that. And it's gonna stick to the paint because the paint's still wet. And just like that, got a nice little red tint thrown in there, so that's gonna look really cool. So it's dirty, a little bit of rust and everything. Then these are the wheel sides I just painted, and these are looking great, so check that out. We do our overspray, a lot of this over brown and, you know, nasty dirty brown is gonna disappear. We're gonna get a nice truck. I think it just contrasts a little bit. Now also we have this air cylinder here to paint, and also the underside before we get into air spraying. And then we also have to detail the top of our locomotive. So I just want to show you guys that just hint of detail with adding the weathering powder right there. It just gives that nice red color. So next we're going to work our way up to the fuel cell right here, and then work our way up to the engine. Right here we have our fuel cell and air tank. So what I like to do is just take some of our black mix we made up before, like the grimy brown color, and just a little bit of that, and just do some streaking here. Just a real light coat. But basically just a light coat over top the fuel and air cell, just some dirt underneath. And then on the air tank here, I want to do a little bit of rust. Just like where these straps are. And on some of the fittings of the pipe. Then we're going to take our normal brush and just work the rust in. Now next we're going to work on this side of the cab, and also our ladders and stuff, or our steps to go up to the locomotive. These, I just like doing an overspray, but we could do some like dirt, just real basic dirt, like this. Nothing crazy, just some streaking. That's where the locomotive would be running back and forth in the yard. You can actually use your finger, scrape some of it off. And then there you go. That's pretty much it. And then we're gonna go up to our front here. Now, For the cab and such, I like doing streaking on the edges of the cab. And like I say, if you want, you can use your finger and just work this stuff in to give it a nice wearing look. And then on the doors here, oops, a little too much. Use this brush and work it in. And for the doors on the side, what I like to do, just add a little bit of that rust. And use a fine brush for the stanchions too. Just a little bit of rust on each one. And then before it dries, just use your other brush and just work it in. And do the streaks along the locomotive here. It's a little much in here, use your finger. So if you really want it to be super rusty, you can actually sit here and just do each stanchion or each little door. Sometimes it gets boring. Then use your other brush and work it out. You just want a little detail. You don't want to go too crazy unless you want this thing to be super dirty. But that's what we got right now, and it looks like a mess. It looks like a chocolate mess right now. But once we do that overspray, it sort of clears up a lot of this detail we've added. So I'm happy with this side. I just want to do a simple weathering on this. I don't want to go too crazy. Do the back here and center here, do more streaking. Then the roof, it's pretty easy. Just do some basic streaking. And there you go. Just a little bit of dirt here and there. And then around the stack, I think that's pretty much the only thing that's going to change. You can do a little bit of rust where these handrails are. And then you can work this out. There you go. Then the venting on the roof, a little bit of rust. And so far, guys, we've only used maybe like 2 or 3 colors and then one weathering powder. We used the rust weathering powder, but out of all this has been a couple colors here. It's a little heavy right there, so what I'll do is actually use this brush and work it in. So now you got a rusty roof vent right there, just some streaks of rust. All right. There you go. Got some rust coming through the vent on the roof. Then the side here is pretty much ready for our overspray. Oh, the window's falling out. Oh no. Some really nice separately applied details. You have these rungs going up. We also have the handrail with stanchions. And for those, we'll do our little bits of rust here. Oops. Okay, and then work it in. And just that little bit will look really awesome. And then we have to do some dirt streaking on the side. Not much there. Then on the sides of the cab. Alright guys, move the camera back so you guys can see me overspray this locomotive. We're using this Avanti airbrush kit from Harbor Freight, and it's been pretty decent to me. Been a great kit so far. I've done several pieces here and everything's turned out pretty good. Got your reservoir here. I always recommend cleaning these out. I use denatured alcohol and basically spray the brush and needle out until, you know, you're not seeing black come out. So you can kind of see, it could use a little bit of cleaning, but it's not a super fine detail brush. So what I usually do is just let this back enough so I can tilt our needle back and forth. Got a good airflow coming out. The compressor comes in the kit, and it's a fairly affordable kit. And we're using our grimy black solution in a bottle, which is right here. I'm going to add that to the reservoir here. And just a dot does a lot. You don't have to go too crazy. It's a little baby locomotive, and that's probably way enough. Going to mix in our wash. I just want this diluted enough so we can mix it up. And we got a nice gray wash now. Look at that, nice soupy gray. And then put the cap on. And then what I like to do is take a piece of paper towel. Got these shop towels here. These things are great. And there we go. There's our spray. Nice mist. Looks way darker on camera than it does in the shop. But here we go. Let us spray this locomotive down. So let's do the lower section first. And this is what we got. It's a finished product here. Lots of nice overspray. She's looking nice and dirty, and we got this really bright light over top the engine, so you're seeing it, and it's looking extremely dirty. But in the normal light on the layout, she is looking great. Got the rust sticking through a lot of the venting on there. It's just a fun looking engine. Lots of dirt and grime. So can't wait to throw this on the layout, and let's see what she looks like in front of our other weathered cars. So here we go, guys, all aboard. Alrighty everyone, that's going to do it for this video on weathering this beautiful little SW1. I think she came out alright. It's a little heavy, but what I plan on doing with this SW1 is actually have her on display in my coal mine area, so it's going to get like super dirty there. Like I said earlier, weathering is subjective, and what's the tasks that your engine's doing or cars, and you want to weather accordingly. So this came out great. She's a dirty SW1. And like I said, I'm going to haul her over to the coal mine, and she'll be there on display until I want to run the locomotive. Then I will look her up and activate the engine. But a couple things, guys. There was some overspray that got onto the wheels. I did see that, but I can actually wear that paint off with like a towel. If I take her back over to the bench and just use like a soft towel, that overspray will come off, and we'll get our nice rusty wheels back. But I kind of like it. It's like, you know, kind of a dusty overspray kind of look, so I'm going to keep it. But yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this weathering video. Hopefully you guys try some weathering on your own or some painting. It's very therapeutic, in my opinion. Gets me through the day. But anyways, guys, if you're new to the channel and enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Leave a like below. Leave a comment as well. Until next time, everyone, happy railroading. We'll see you next time. See you guys.